All right, Bulls and Bears, BX4 News back in the building, back with another dose of economic reality, bull to the bust. Let's go ahead and get into it, folks. If you had any doubts that the economy is in some deep, deep trouble and that we need to brace for something big to come up here very quickly, the news today, I think, is going to erase any doubt that you had. Here's just some of the briefings here I want to give you, then we'll get into more detail. U.S. Treasury said it was hacked. The U.S. Treasury hacked. I'm not even joking. We're going to get into that here, folks. Credit card debt and charge-off delinquencies just hit a 13-year high. Folks, the chickens are coming home to roost. Dow Jones down 400 points today. Recording this today on December 30th. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, so hope you all are well and having a happy holiday season. But let's get into how to prepare for this. The financial system, the economy continues to chug along. It continues to look like it's doing very well based on borrowed money, based on people spending borrowed money for the most part. Where there's lending, there's going to be spending. And where there's spending, there's pretending that the economy is good, because all you have to do is look at how much people spend and they say, oh, look, it's economic growth, right? You guys know this. But people still seem to not understand when I read in comments, how can people be spending money? Why is the shopping mall full? Why are the sports stadiums full? Folks, please let these people know this is borrowed money. It's credit cards. Banks today are loaning out money way looser than they did during the financial crisis, even before the financial crisis. But even after the financial crisis hit, 2008, at the end of it is when it really started, 2009, 10, 11, we saw a big pullback in lending, right? Banks were very sketchy to be loaning out money. They weren't guaranteed endless life support at that time. At this time here, at the end of 2024, they are guaranteed endless life support. Of course, they're going to let a few small and mid-sized banks fail just to give the illusion that banks can fail. But you really think they're going to let a Bank of America, a Chase, a Wells Fargo, Citibank, you think they're going to let them banks fail? Not a chance, folks. Not going to happen. The smaller and mid-sized banks, they're allowed to fail to give the illusion that there's some accountability for the banks. Of course, they're going to consolidate a lot of these smaller banks, be bought up by bigger banks. And then when those bigger banks that bought those smaller banks have trouble, they'll be bought out by an even larger bank down the road. And it's consolidation, folks. I mean, we've talked about this for many years. Most of you know the game by now. Look at this, folks. This is crazy. Bank insiders leaking data on client accounts as scams surge. Have you noticed a big increase in your credit card getting hijacked or your credit card being used someplace where you didn't use it, breached, your card gets compromised? Have you noticed a big increase in that? I've noticed it. I'd say for the first 10, 20 years of having a credit card, I might have had it done once. Now in the past 2 years, I probably had it happen to me 3 times personally, I think in the past 2 years. And my wife, a lot more in the past couple years than she had previously. Things like this, folks. This is out of MSN. Bank insiders leaking data on client accounts. New staffer was supposed to help Dominion Bank spot money laundering from an outpost in New York. She instead used her access to bank data to distribute customer details to a network on Telegram, according to prosecutors. I'm not on Telegram. I'm not on, what's that other one that people mention a lot? Snapchat. I'm not on Snapchat. Folks, I'm only on YouTube, and that's about it. The other platforms I am on, I barely upload. I barely have time, right? I have time to do this, and that's about it, plus other things. But as far as social media goes, pretty much YouTube's about it for me. But yeah, people are getting their data taken more often. It's things like this. What's happening with all these data breaches like we've never seen before? People just without regard and without worried about getting caught, just selling data. This person luckily got caught, but we'll see how this plays out. But I've seen a big increase in data being taken off my credit cards. And I don't use my debit card for that reason, because if you get your debit card taken, if you get your debit card number compromised, and they use that, your account is drained, right? So you better have a big backup account somewhere else, or some money in the safe at home. Otherwise, they drain your main account of cash. You're going to be in big trouble, folks. So that's why I use credit cards online and stuff like that. Rarely use my debit card for that reason. Take a look at this. U.S. consumer confidence pulled back in December. Remember that big surge we had after the beginning of November? People said, the problems are going to be fixed. And then they realized, wait a second, it's not that simple. They're not really promising to do anything that's going to help anybody. They're going to probably deregulate the banks. So it's going to make the banks be able to loan out even more money, which is going to make these asset bubbles get even bigger. Unless there's a black swan, that's a possibility. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. But without something big coming in like a black swan, taking down the entire system or the grid, you're going to see more money expansion, folks. The velocity of money is going to continue to increase with more deregulation of the banks, tariffs, another inflationary force, and I think a lot of other problems that we're going to discuss here in more detail as well. But consumer confidence pulled back. Remember that initial confidence because of who won in November. December's fall in confidence was led by consumers of over 35 years old. Consumers under 35 became more confident. Very interesting, right? You would think the younger ones, the ones in the most debt right now, the ones mostly living paycheck to paycheck, the ones mostly having to live at home with their parents, would be less confident. But they say it's just the opposite. That's out of Consumer Practice Advisor. Are these people finally smelling economic reality? Well, that's what it seems like. A couple other things here on that topic, though. Apologize, I was bouncing around trying to find the right one here. Americans struggling with student debt expect much worse under the new administration. That's out of The Guardian. Because when you look at just students, well, many of them expected student loan forgiveness. They didn't get it under the previous administration, but yet they think that the next administration is going to be even less likely to do it, even though it didn't happen. It happened for some people under the previous administration, but it wasn't that blanket debt deletion or debt forgiveness that a lot of people had expected. It was certain groups, people with medical conditions and some other things that we talked about. I can't remember exactly. Even older people started getting their debt forgiven. People in their 50s, 60s, and 70s still begging for student loan to be forgiven, which is insane. But yeah, that's what happened, folks. Consumer confidence dropped again. People were very excited at the beginning, but now I think they're starting to see that economic reality, there's not going to be any miracles. There's not going to be any easy fix, someone coming in to help you or save you. It's going to be up to people to do the right planning, the financial mapping to make things doable. I think in the next few 3 to 4 years, who knows what's going to happen. Everything that we see changing, or we're going to see change coming up here in January and in the coming years, 3 or 4 years. A lot of that's just going to be reversed back in 4 years with the next administration. It's probably going to go back the other side. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know how the game is played, folks. It's very simple, though, once you just figure out the big picture. Right, but let's get into the big, I think the most surprising story to people, which should not be surprising. We told you the second half, 2024, is going to get wild. It's going to get crazy. We're going to see more hacks, more data breaches, more security problems here. Chinese state-sponsored hackers breached the U.S. Treasury Department's computer security guardrails this month and stole documents in what the Treasury called a major incident. Folks, this is out of Yahoo News. And Yahoo is putting it out via Reuters. Okay, Reuters. Major incident, according to a letter to lawmakers that Treasury officials provided to Reuters on Monday. The hackers compromised third-party cybersecurity service provider Beyond Trust and were able to access unclassified documents. So that's very concerning, folks. The Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, you would think they would have the best of the best security in the world, if you even believe that this is what happened. Could they use this as an excuse to bring down the entire financial system? That way they can say, look what happened. Everything was fine. The economy was on solid footing. Everyone was happy. The economy was strong until this darn hack or breach happened and took it down. We saw that same excuse floated out in 2020. Remember that? before the health crisis came out, the economy was strong. Things were firing on all cylinders. We saw that also 2008 until the banks went under, until they loaned out too many bad mortgages. Everything was fine. Everything was solid on solid footing. It's the same thing. It repeats itself. Early 2000s until the dot-com crash. Nobody saw it coming. The overpriced dot-com stocks took the whole system down, brought the stock market down. Then we had, of course, 2001, which happened September 2001. What happened there? And it's always some sort of it's a surprise. We didn't see it coming. Everything was fine until this or that happened. You know what I'm saying? That's how it seems. Could it be the same this time? I mean, please let me know if you agree or disagree with this down in the comments. Am I onto something? Am I cuckoo, crazy in the stratosphere in La La Land? I mean, please let me know here. But I think that's pretty much how most of us will see it here. By the way, this Treasury hacking incident, the story continues. The article says a spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington rejected any responsibility for the hack. Of course. What do you think they're going to do? Say, we did it. Yep, we did it. You got us. You caught us. Handcuff me now. Take me away. Of course they're going to deny it. Why even print that? Anyways, pretty interesting. What do you guys think about that? Couple other things to get into. Holiday debt leaves Americans with credit card hangover, right? Remember that. And then let's talk about the next topic here after this. But the holiday hangover, we know that a big percentage of people had never paid off the previous year's debt. And you ask yourself, why aren't all these people defaulting? Well, they still have balance transfer options. You can balance transfer tens of thousands of dollars to another card, balance it to another card. The debt balance keeps going up. Even though people are getting in more debt, they're finding creative ways to keep the debt sustainable. And a lot of that has to do with balance transfers. And as long as that continues, if banks are going to continue to have balance transfer options open and increase people's credit ceilings, you can see this economy continue to go a long ways before any sort of downturn or correction. And that's because it's credit driven, it's debt driven, it's spending driven, right? You guys know this. But here's something that ties in with that article that we just talked about here. National Creditors Bar Association credit card charge-offs just hit a 13-year high. This is charge-off and delinquencies. Are they peaking? That is the question. 13-year high, folks. So we know what's happening. People are sustaining the debt for now, for the most part. Not always, though, because you have, 4.65% of the people now that have had charge-offs, and that's up from the previous year, and it is increasing. Again, the balance transfer options, the higher credit limits are still available, so people are still able to make that minimum payment a lot of times, but the debt continues to grow, continues to mount, and they need a big, we need, I should say we the people, the credit card debtors, need a big debt forgiveness plan or program like the student loans are waiting for. Will they give that to all credit card people? Maybe they'll hit the delete button on the debt. We'll see what happens. All right, folks, we have a couple other black swanish type of things happening. I need a little time to do some more research, but there's this weird fog within the fog, a combination of flashing lights. And we had this drone thing come up, a couple weeks ago now. The drone thing was a big thing in the news. People reporting seeing drones. We played some of the videos here. Now there's this weird fog with a funny smell and weird flashing lights and weird images that you can see on camera but not off the camera. It's very weird. I'm not even sure if I'm going to go into much detail about it. I'm going to see how widely reported these types of things are being put out there on social media and things like that. I'm going to see if anyone else is reporting at it as far as news outlets. And I'm going to let you know in the next report. So very important time, folks, to stay ahead of what's happening. We could be on the verge of something massive, and we need to be on top of it, ready for it, folks. So please make sure you are subscribed right here in this channel. Come back. We'll see you very soon. As always, keep stacking. Big love. Bye for now. Peace.